So hi guys, welcome to issue 43 of Eddie Stobart. This is the rear left light and Mudflap, and between this issue and also the next three issues I've got a bit of a problem. The first problem is that two of the next four issues is not building anything, so I'm struggling to find some content. However, I have a big problem with this issue. Let's see how quickly it takes you to spot it.
I've pounded the road from coast to coast, Yorkie and me rolling on. 'Cause a long day's run can be short on fun without Yorkie to help me along.
Okay, so here's the parts for issue 43, and I've also got some bits out that I'm going to need. And have you spotted the problem yet? I'll give you a clue. So these are the parts. So let me get my knife out, cut them open, and we have got, now the first thing was, this was actually in the packet like this, and I thought, oh my god, that's a different fixing. It wasn't until I sort of looked that I realised that that's actually two separate bits, but that's another story. Right, so the parts that we've got is part 43-1, and this is the left mud flap, and this is where my problem is. As you'll see in a previous issue, I did modify this to make it look what I think is a bit nicer. However, this, I've got to now paint this rubber black, but this is printed on. If this was a sticker or something, I could figure out a way to remove it and then paint it and then put it back. But it's a sticker, it's painted. So the only thing I can think of is to mask it off, but that's with the hope that it doesn't remove it. Shouldn't do with the masking tape, but we'll see what we can do. So that's the first part. The second part is this rear left light holder, and this is nothing you haven't seen before because we've done a mud. This is all exactly the same as this. So part 3 is the rear left light reflector, and then we have the part 4 rear left seal plate, and these are all plastic so far. Piece 5 is this very gorgeous rear left light lens. I think that's beautiful. And then we have 5 1.2 by 3mm screws, of which one is spare. So what we'll do now is we will find our little pot. Oh, they're calling them DP10 now. 1.2 by 3. I haven't got any anyway. This is the first time, well, since I've been storing my screws, this is the first time I've seen them. So yeah, okay, so what I'll do is I'll just cut these out until I find a place to put them, and in the hope that I don't lose any. So what I'll do is I'll go through the previous magazines and see what screws I needed for those for the last flap. Right, so what I'll do is I'll build what I can, then I need to modify this. Now I'm not going to go into great detail on how I do this because this is exactly the same as this one, and I'll try to remember to put a link to this one in the description, so if you're watching this video without watching this one, you'll be able to catch up. But what I'm basically going to do, in the last video, when I did this one, what I did was I painted all of this rubber black, which is AK11027, beautiful colour, and then I went over the top bit with semi-gloss black to make it look like a plastic strip, and then I went over the edges, the 3 remaining edges, to make it look like, again, a plastic strip. But obviously this time I've got to cover this up, because there is absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to paint that freehand and get that line exact. But what I'll do is I will just do it and you'll get a speeded up version of it. I don't think I need to go into the detail I went into with this one because it's exactly the same. But for convenience, what I'm probably going to do is when I come to paint it, I'm just going to put some masking tape along the top and along the bottom, and I'm going to paint the top and the bottom rubber black. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to put a bit of masking tape along there, and we'll just finish that little bit off, and then I'll do the edges. So right, the first thing we need to do then is take parts part 4, 3 and let's try that one again, shall we? 3, 4 and 5, which is these pieces, and we need to take part 4, then we need to take part 3. Now I can't remember which way round this is. I think this goes that way. You've got a little lip around the edge, and this has got some raised parts there. Can you see them? They're raised, and that's going to go into there with the raised parts up, and then this is going to go in, and it looks like into the recesses with the raised reflectors faced upwards. Then we need to fit the black and chrome assembly onto the pegs of the coloured lens, so that the chrome part is sandwiched between the black part and the coloured part. Now it looks like, I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but it looks like, there we go, the orange needs to go on the left hand side. So it's gone on like that. Now on the image in the magazine, this peg is completely red and this one is clear, but as you can see, that's not happened with me. So we'll go with this, and hopefully it'll be the right way round, but we'll do some alterations if it's not correct. So the next thing we need to do is take part 2, the left light holder, and I can see from the magazine with the orange, they have actually put an arrow in the magazine, so note the orientation of the flange on part 43 too. So this little flange wants to be downwards like so. Again, this is nothing we've not done before, and the position of the orange section of the lens, which is there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop that onto there, and you'll see you've got 5 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to go through the middle, well, through the, if you numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it would be going through the even numbered holes. So the next thing we want to do then, after we've done this, some of you might have forgotten about this, but in a previous issue we were given this part. This came from issue 35. And we want to take this, and we want the wires going off to the right with the flange down, and we're going to just place that into there like so. And you'll see there's 2 holes in the circuit board, and those holes are going to correspond with the little pegs there, and that's going to push in like that. Perfect. Right, so this shows what the left rear light assembly, when it's fitted. The flange on part 43 2 is at the top, and there is the flange at the top with the cables 9 and 11 on the right and the orange section on the left. So next step, we want to take the mudguard assembly from the previous issue and identify the 2 holes in the rear of the part 42-1, which is there beneath the mounting bar. The pegs of part 43-5 fit into the 2 holes as indicated. So with our flange at the top, we want to place that into there like so. And what that, you'll now see that what that flange does, that doesn't want to go in. Why does that not want to go in? There we go. That's gone in fine. So we have the advantage of the fact that we can do a comparison. So if we look at this, this is the one we've done in the previous issue. We can see that the wires go off to the left and the orange light is on the right. So this is obviously going to go on that side, and this one therefore must be the opposite. So there's the orange light on the outside and the wires going on the inside, and if we look at the way that the lights are fitted, see we've got this little flange there. That is absolutely perfect. So we now need to turn the mudguard over so that you can access the inside, and it all comes apart, but that's not a problem. We can always put that back. In fact, let's leave it off. So what we need to do is place two 1.2 by 3 mil screws into there, and I can instantly see that my screwdriver head is way too big for that. So we need to get probably the smallest one I've got. And it looks like my small, no, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. Right, so what we need to do is secure this onto there. So we put that back on. Be careful, this is a little bit slippery. Right, and I should have got my screw ready before I began. So I think once we've got the first screw in, I think the job will just suddenly become really easy. This is still a rather large head. Right, so I'll get this held in, and I think it's going to be really important to do my usual trick, which is just insert the screws just enough to bite. And I'm struggling with this screwdriver. The main reason I'm struggling is because of the angle. Ideally I want my screwdriver to come in like this, so you might want to consider a different screwdriver if you've got it, but yeah, I haven't managed to get that one on enough to bite. So let's have a quick look through my screwdriver pots and see if I've got a nice small screwdriver with a small head, which I have. I don't know if that's going to be easier. I know one of these small screwdrivers I've got, they're not magnetized. Yeah, this one's not magnetized. Oh, it is. Right. So get your screw ready as best you can. This particular screwdriver doesn't have a flat end, so it doesn't stand up in the same way that this one does. So let's get this lined up again. This is giving me a little bit of trouble, but I think that's come loose a little bit. Right, there we go, that's in place. So see if this screwdriver helps. That's a little bit better. Right, so say once we can get this in enough to bite, we don't need to get it in fully just yet, but look, that's on enough to bite, so that's holding on there. So what we can do now is get our second screw. There we go. And then we can pop that into the second screw hole, and then this one can be driven in all the way. It's provided we know this is still fitting. There we go. And that is practically perfect, even with the screws a little bit loose. So I'm not going to overwork it, because these are plastic. In fact, actually it looks like we're screwing into acrylic, and acrylic has a habit of cracking, so that's not moving, so I'm going to leave it there. So that is that part done. Sorry, I'm just going through the magazine. So the next step, what we have, and I'm not going to do this because I need to modify this first. So just like before, this mud flap is going to go on the end there, and then you can see we've got two screws there, and we've got two of our 3 screws left over here, and that's going to screw in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do my modifications to the mud flap so that the mud flap is more consistent with the previous issue, and then we'll screw that in, and then that will be issue complete. Now I have something that I personally think is quite exciting. I don't normally show the magazine off, but I found this article about working time directives, and it's something that as a coach driver I deal with every single day, and it sometimes causes us problems, and sometimes it gives us a lot of protection. But I'm not going to go through at this issue. I'm going to save it for the next video, and then that'll be a little bit of a bonus, because the next issue, as you can see, is the parts for the outer left rear wheel, and I will show you the entire issue in advance. There is the parts and nothing to build. So that means we've got some content for the next issue. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to modify this this mud flap, and then we'll get it finished.
Copy? What's your angle?
This is Eddie Stobart driving a big rig.
Oh, I've got you in my sights just up the road.
This is Eddie Stobart. I'll move over, let you in, but I've got an heavy load, and I must be there by 10. My foot's down to the floor, and I can't do any more. It's a 38-tonner trucking down the road. She's a rig I like to drive, and she makes me feel alive. My 38-tonner trucking down the road. Well, we'll go for Highway A65. Man, she feels so good to drive. Down to Bradford and Leeds in New York by 5. Yes, this is Eddie Stobart. I'll move over, let you in. Please just smile and give away. You know this rig, she ain't so small, but she'll always get me home. My 38-tonner pounding down the road. Yes, she'll cruise at over 90 and idle just down at 30. She's a beauty and she'll always be for me. Well, we'll go for Highway A65. Man, she feels so good to drive. Down to Bradford and Leeds in York by 5.
Okay, so I've done most of the painting, and I've popped the mud guard on. The only thing is the Tamiya paint is a little bit thin. Don't know if you can notice around the edge. It's not really giving good coverage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over with a layer of AK Interactive Blood Red, which is a little bit of a thicker paint and a similar colour, not the same. And then what I'll do is I'll go over it with one last coat of X7, and then hopefully that should be a nice colour match.
And she makes me feel alive. My 38-tonner trucking down the road. Well, I'm Eddie Stobart, and I'll let you in. Please just smile and give away. This rig, she ain't so small, but she'll always get me home. My 38-tonner trucking down the road. You know this rig, she ain't so small, and she'll always get me home. My 38-tonner pounding down the road. This rig, she ain't so small, and she'll always get me home. My 38-tonner trucking down the road.
So there we are, guys. That I'm rather happy with. That's that issue complete. The paint's not dry, but the shine isn't going to change an awful lot. So obviously maybe what I could have done was waited until I actually got this issue, so then I can sort of plan it. I got a little bit lucky there, and you know, I was able to mask that with no problems. Perhaps I should have done them both together, so that painting two together was probably going to be a better job. Also, to even this paint up, rather than going over with different colours, maybe I could have gone over with, say, a medium grey to just even up the colour, and then apply the red onto that. That may have saved me a coat or two. But that's the issue finished. I'm happy with it. So it's going to go this way round, because obviously now it's going to go that way round, because the indicators are on the outside, and these are obviously going to go on the inside. So let me talk about the next couple of issues, yeah, so we'll talk about the next issue so that we know what's happening in the next few weeks. Okay, so the next issue, issue 44, I believe, is one of those issues where there's nothing to do, it's just collect parts. However, I have found a really good article which I'd like to talk about from the magazine. So what I'm going to do is I'll talk about that article next week. That will pad the issue out a little bit. We've done an awful lot in this week, so to then add more content to this video and nothing to the last video is going to be a little bit... so there is going to be work to do in issue 45, so that will have content. Issue 46 is going to be another issue where there's nothing to do, it's just parts collection. However, I have got some exciting news about the upcoming issues. Now, by the time you see issue 46, some of that information will already be out, but it's something fun to talk about anyway. So, thank you very much for watching this video. I do apologise for it being a day late, but the next 3 issues will be on time. So take care, guys. I'll see you in another issue.